We have brisket number 2. Now, this I believe is considered choice. Let me see if it says on here. Commodity packer style vacuum packed brisket. I know that this is not prime. This was $3.76 a pound, and yes, I have to squint because I need reading glasses. It's $71 total, but we're gonna trim this to get it ready. The grill or the smoker is going. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this bag off of here. And I have some ideas for what I'm gonna do this time to make this a little bit better. I'm trying to see if I can get a spot there. There we go. And I'm really interested to see what the difference is going to be with this. Let me see if I can get it and slide it out. I'm going to put down a towel under the cutting board. Okay. And super cold. It's been in the fridge, not the freezer. I went ahead and bought a different grain of pepper because the 16 or 18 mesh that they're asking for, my pepper grinder will grind too much powder. I just didn't think that was going to work this time. I wanted to try something different. I know that you want to isolate variables and change just a few things at a time, but we're going to change several things because I think I have a better idea of what I'm doing and what I did wrong. We're going to put the fat in there because, again, none of that's going away. Let's see here. Do I want to cut in a little bit? That is super dense, thick fat. Let me see. I watched several videos on this, and I go slow. I also don't make a huge deal out of it. I think I trimmed off too much fat last time. And this is an exceedingly sharp knife. So this piece right here, this piece of the flat overcooked last time, definitely dried out. I'm really gonna be brutal here, and I'm gonna come along, and I know that looks like a ton, but that's gonna be stew meat. Don't worry about it, because I think that's going to give me a better shape. I'm going to come in right here and right here, and already I think it looks a little bit better just from that. Let me check on some of this. I'll get that little bit of like silver skin off. Yeah, so it is early for me. I've been up, I got some stuff for the fence. I'm going to try to repair that so the dog doesn't knock any planks off. I got to talk to the neighbor because they're worried about their dog getting through the fence. Cut off a little too much meat right there. Well, that's a piece of stew meat now. It's not too bad. Let me turn this over and see. So this part, last time, I trimmed too much of this off. I am going to trim some of it off, but everything I kept seeing, they wanted about 1/4 of an inch thick, which I think is probably a good way to go. I'm going to go along this edge here and see all fat. All fat right there. Let's go a little bit further and see. Do we hit any meat? Not yet, not yet, not yet. Now this whole piece right here, and again, if you can just get it about 1/4 inch thick, I hit some meat right there, peel that off. If you're looking for beef tallow, this is the way to make it. Good God, there's so much fat on that. Okay, right there, a little bit more. All right, now this, do you see how that's like super thick on top of the meat there? We don't probably want that. And I'm trying to make it mostly just uniform. Now it tapers over here. On this side you can't see, or actually you'll see it. Hold on, let me turn around. So this side, this looks about perfect, a little 1/4 inch. This over here, super thick, we're gonna have to trim that down. This right here, way too thick. We're gonna have to come in and see what I think is the best way to do this. Now, the reason we use a sharp knife is you do not want to slice off a finger. As a body worker, I need those. Ooh. And I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for better. Better than last time. And by the way, everybody ate all of that brisket. Some of it was frozen in packages, but every damn day somebody took out a package and started eating off the next bundle. Okay, hit meat right there. Peel that. So right in there, along this edge. Again, just about a 1/4 inch. I'm not looking for perfection. This isn't going in a barbecue competition. I'm just trying to make it more uniform. So it's not like big, thick piece and then thin piece. A little bit more off this top piece if I can get it. It probably would be a little bit easier if it was almost just quite frozen. It's a little bit warmer this time, but I'm not going to worry about it. I also wanted the brisket to be a little closer to room temperature this time when I put it on the grill. It's still going to be cool, of course, on the inside. You got a little fat up here, right there. That looks pretty good. I might trim that little piece off. Got some stew meat there. Now, let me flip this and take a look. Now that in there, I'm not quite sure what I want to do yet. I don't want to slice too much of that off. And one of the things I'm confused about, I've seen people talk about the mohawk. I think what I'm going to do is when I look at this, it's got a little bit of this hard fat in the middle here. I'm trying to figure out how should I go about trimming that out. This over here looks just slightly discolored, so I'm going to come in right here and just slice that outer bit off. And again, that's going to wind up being stew meat. And it feels kind of, I hate to say it feels wasteful, but that's the first thing it makes me think of. It's like, man, that's a whole lot of, stuff you're cutting off. Now we got a fat over here. And again, 1/4 inch. If I'm getting something that I think is thick and hard and likely will not render. Now, what I'm most interested in is like what they were talking about is the mohawk last time. So this looks like pretty well trimmed to me. Like this looks like it's pretty much ready to go to my novice eyes at the moment. I'm trying to see this bit of what I think they're calling decal fat right in here. Let me see if I can trim just a little bit of that out. A little bit better. They'll always say that a lot of that won't render, but I'm trying to watch videos and figure out how they're trimming, because you don't want like the big mohawk is what they were calling it, which I think is exactly what I had last time, by the way. So see, you cut some of that out and then you wind up with that little bit of gap. And then this is the part I'm a little more confused at. Are they trimming right here or are they trimming over here? And I think that's what it is. I think they're trimming this piece off right here. Let me take a look. I'm gonna eyeball this and see what I think is gonna work. And if you're going, oh my God, this is like barbecue sacrilege, it's fine, don't worry about it. This is mine. I'm learning, and I got a choice instead of a prime. One, it's less expensive, and two, I want to be able to take a bad piece of beef and turn it into a good piece of beef. And I hate to say that I feel horrible doing this, but I feel like I'm butchering this thing. Now, even my bad brisket last time got eaten just a plenty. Yeah, I don't like the way this looks at all, guys. Look at this. This, I feel like I butchered the damn thing. I was trying to level this off. I think, take another little piece right there. But I think that's going to be the trim. I think this is good to go. I feel bad that I kind of trimmed that section off, but this is, I think, ready to go on the smoker. I understand the flat point part better than I do where the mohawk is. And I think also it depends on the shape. What I can't figure out is, like, see, it's still got some of this dark fat in here. I'm not going to worry about it because I don't want to, like, take it apart anymore. I mean, we cut off a quarter, maybe, of the whole brisket. I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper this. And again, it's just kosher salt, black pepper. We're going to go ahead and get that ready, and it's going to go on the smoker. All right, we're going to mix it up today. And let's see. So I'm probably going to fudge this a little bit. I got the Hell or High Water Brewing Float the River style Kolsch. And this is with the alcohol, thank God, because we need it. Hell or High Water, it's a pretty nice can. You guys can hopefully see it. I don't have the close up for this, but I'll probably show the screen later for the review. Hell or High Water, I kind of like the can black with like blue lettering. It's kind of interesting. Normally I'll have this in a pint glass, but those are in the dishwasher cleaning. And I am trying to smoke this damn brisket. I can't even get the thing to 200 degrees inside. Like, I gotta raise the temperature. I had to put some more coals and wood, trying to build more of a coal bed. I think the temperature management is probably the hardest part of offset smoking a brisket for sure. Is it crisp? Is it tart? Is it citrusy? Lemon peel? And Kolsch typically are very light in color. Ooh, man, that's good. Super crisp. Borders on a sour, but it's not a sour, so don't feel like it's a sour, but it's got that crisp kind of tart flavor to it. Super nice. So I've got the intake at about 50%. There's still a little air that fits around the smoke box door here, and then I've got this about 50%, trying to pull more air through to get it to just keep going. I think I just need more coals to just catch the logs, and I'm just going to have to continue experimenting with it. I've got a limited amount of space to be able to work with, and if you're me, you've only watched about 3 hours of brisket videos. Let's see. So I mostly botched the mohawk. I feel like I trimmed too much off the brisket. We'll see what happens. I'd left a much better 1/4 inch fat on top, but it's only been about an hour, and I'm still waiting on this to like come up in temperature. I've been opening this to let it flame. And blowing on it, trying to get the logs to catch a bit more. You looking at my keister, you bum looker? And it's catching a bit more, but what I notice is when I open the smoke box, it's sending less through here. So I have to really get this to the point where I can just let it sit. You don't want to keep opening the chamber. What have we talked about before, folks? Listen, there's a real labor of love, and I'm getting to a point where I want to give up my body work and teaching business, and I want to stay in my backyard and contemplate brisket. I got it bad. I watched 3 hours of videos, and it's like watching these guys who've dedicated themselves to almost a cut of meat, how it's smoked, the wood it's smoked with, is it aerodynamic, the temperature inside, absolutely just blows my mind. It's not about me making restaurant quality brisket overnight. It's about me learning how to use this equipment to produce the best that I can. This time I went with one that's not a prime. It don't have as much intramuscular fat. I'm like, if I can turn a choice brisket into something people want to eat, we're good. And the last one that was a little too tough, a little too dry, it still all got eaten. Super tasty. Super tasty. Hell or high water, huh? German colonists who first settled in Texas did so along the hill country rivers, which provided excellent places to live, work, and with great water to brew Bavarian style beers. We honor their heritage with our Float the River Kolsch. Please enjoy it responsibly. And responsibly? What's responsible mean? I was a philosophy student. Responsibly. Was it responsible to get into that deer stand while you're on mushrooms and there was a wasp nest in it where you could have, you know, fallen 20 feet to the ground? No, but it's a good memory. All right. I am going back to grill number 1, and we're going to do a little bit of relaxed refurbishing. I'm going to see, I don't know what a brand this is, and let me grab my reading glasses just in case I need them. Because even though this grill is not going to get used as much as the char grill, I want to see if I can sand the outside of this and clean it up. It needs some new handles here. It looked like they broke off. But let me see if I can find any information. Master built. But this whole thing has been like ripped off. Huh. Yeah, I'm more concerned about the outside. I mean, the inside has like a coat of fucking like creosote. It's like, you know, caked on. It's the outside that's more of a little bit of a challenge. And I got a little bit of stuff on my hands, but I got this sander, and the sandpaper just cracks when I does this not crimp in the way I want it to? So anyway, the sandpaper just cracks, and I was able to shape it. I got the 80 grit because I wanted to see if I could sand the outside of this. I was tearing up my fingers doing it by hand. So I went ahead and got this to make it a little bit easier. And you can see how rusty it is on the outside. Let's there's the little door there. Let me see if I can get over here and see what it looked like. We dropped it there. Oh. Whew, all that rust. I'm gonna sweep that up. But I don't know if I'm gonna finish this today. I'm just gonna start the process. I keep it covered with a trash bag just to keep the rain off it. I need to clean the grill plates. I just want to get it back to like usable. And then I'm not as worried about the inside. I feel like it's coated, covered. It's not a big deal. I don't have stuff pressing up against it. Let me check my temperature here on my logs. Yeah, we're real good. It's about 250, 275, right in there. I'm trying to make sure it don't flame up too bad. We're almost spot on 250. I do check this periodically just because I'm trying to get a sense of like how many logs or how much wood I'm putting in at a given time to get it to keep the temperature that I want. I'll move some of these around and make sure there's enough coals to like keep it going at a good solid temperature. This is a crazy thing for me because I've never had to manage a smoke box this way, because it's very different than just grilling. Grilling is just a high temp and, you know, keep it up for a short amount of time. This is a different beast altogether. But I kind of move these around, make sure they got some airflow so it'll smoke up. The temp, when I open this, there's enough of a vent where it like stops pushing the hot air through there, so it'll drip temporarily, but that's flaming up because I've moved these and given it a little bit more oxygen. I'm kind of putting it under the log to make sure it catches better. Now I'm going to close it. We're right at 200 now. It went from 200, 250 to about 200. Whew, I'm blind. God damn, that thing's shining right in my eye. I'm actually going to sit here for just a second, and you can see it start to smoke up, right? The smoke just wants to find the first place of pressure. One of the things I found interesting is this doesn't like lock on. Like I wish it was a little bit heavier maybe and then forced out of here, but you can see it's coming out of whatever holes, whatever gaps. The temperature's already gone up about 20 degrees inside here. I'm gonna give it just a minute. I wanna see if it goes back to 250 just because I moved those logs around. I've got the next piece ready. The only thing I've been able to figure out is the bark seems to catch much faster. So I've got to be careful when I put a new log on that the whole bark just doesn't just light the whole log all at once. So yeah, now we're about 220, 230 right there. And it's had a good temperature, just about 250, 275. It spiked a little bit towards 300, but I opened it up, moved some logs around, got it to calm down a little bit. And this is about every 30, 40 minutes I come out and just check it. We may get to the point where we've got a thermometer inside so I can manage the temperature like remotely through an app on my phone. But for right now, I think we're fine. And it's still going up very slowly, a little bit closer to 250. It's got hours and hours to go. I don't know, what time is it? If it's 5 o'clock, it's probably going to go till 1 o'clock in the morning, I suspect, and then it's going to go in the oven. We're going to talk about the temperature of the brisket itself and what's going to happen, but I think this temperature is good. I'm going to check this one last time. And yeah, that's lit, that's going. I'm just gonna let that go, and then we'll talk about the temperature of the brisket later. I know that this is not even close to done. I have done a ton of fire management. We are right spot at 250, if this is correct, by the way. I've vacillated between 200 and 300, and I keep getting logs that are like, I don't know if it's like the wood is more dense and it burns more slowly, or I get one that's like super dry and it just, you know, flames up. But I've had to come back and forth every 30 minutes and just kind of check it when I was playing video games upstairs. And I am taking a break, if you want to call it that, from smoking the brisket. I did decide to do some tastings today. This is Hell and High Water Brewing, their Float the River Kolsch style ale. Crisp, tart, Reminds me of citrus peel. It's not tart like a sour, but it's enough to remind me of those, I guess, tart notes. It's not about perfection. There's nothing about the cooking show that I'm like, you got to get this perfect. It's more like there's more value in showing the mistakes. It's just like my subscribers vault. It's not about perfect. It's about ongoing improvement. No. 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 It's done. It's not working. I can kind of look down and see it at that angle, so it lets me know that it's kind of where it needs to be. 250 to 275 is kind of the sweet spot for everything I keep seeing. I bought a ThermoPro thermometer because I don't have a meat thermometer, and I did a bunch of research from the last brisket I made, and here was what I found. One, you're supposed to cook it anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half per pound. Isn't that a big range? Exactly. I also found that they said when the brisket reaches 185 internal, it's cooked, it's done. But it's not juicy until it's 200 to 205 Fahrenheit. And it's like, oh, you're getting more, you're getting more of the fat and the proteins to break down, and it'll go through a stall. It'll get to a point where it just stops cooking. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and, this guy, when you close it, turns off completely. I'll come up and show you this real quick. So it turns off completely, and when you open it, it turns on and then gives me like ambient temperature. It looks super, super nice. It's actually got like a little light on it, I think. Is that working? Oh no, so that's just the light on the screen there so you can see if it's dark. And then what I'm gonna do is go ahead and open this up. I'm gonna probe this. We're right at 250. This has been, it is like 6 o'clock now. Let me check and make sure. Yeah, it's 6:37 right now, so it's coming up on 6 hours. I just want to see where this is at, and I've only opened this a couple times the whole time I've been cooking. Don't it look nice? So I'm going to probe it in a couple of spots just because I want to see what the temperature is. Looks like about 150-ish. And what is that? About the same, 150-ish. Nope, 149. Okay, I don't think there's any need to go ahead and keep probing that. That's just got to keep going. I think it's totally fine. I do have to do some research and try to find out when do you wrap it. So I need to do some quick research. I'm going to go upstairs, do a little more, and you'll notice on this, I opened this up, lets the heat out, it dropped to like 200. It's going to take it just a minute. It's probably going to go back to 250. I'm going to stand here for just a second because I want to check that and make sure it does. But the brisket itself looks absolutely awesome. I even like the way the trim looks a little bit better, even though I think I took off like part of the point basically. Don't worry, it goes into stew meat. At this point, guys, I have an obsession. This is never going to stop. I'm going to be back here smoking briskets until I figured out almost like restaurant quality. We're about 230-ish. Let me see if it cranks up just a little bit more. I got a log in here that's hopefully just about to catch. Yeah, it's starting. And yeah, just about 250. I think that's going to go. I've managed the coils, and I've got a spray bottle in case I have to spray down the smoker box just to cool it down just a little bit. I'll spray the logs just to cut back on the flame if it mounts too much. If it lights too much in flames. So right about 250, I'm going to go ahead and leave this. This is probably going to go for a while. I need to find out at what point do I need to wrap it. And I know that the bark isn't quite there yet. I would say it's at least got another 2-3 hours before I would want to, if it's bark centric, in other words, if the wrap is determined by when the bark forms, then I'm not there yet by far. We're about 250. I think it's great where it's at. Fortunately, I can see the smoker dial from here to see what the temperature is. We're edging up on 200 at least. I'd like to get a little bit higher to close to 250, but I think the coals just have to build. I think I just used too little to get those logs started. The charcoal burns at a higher temperature than the wood does. Alberto Mexican Lager from High Sign Brewing. And part of the reason I've changed the review process, I'll sit down at the computer later and pull up their websites. I got beer stacked up in the fridge that needs to go. It's been sitting too long. I don't want to have beer sit too long where it actually like loses its carbonation or flavor. But we're gonna try out this Mexican lager from High Sign Brewing. Is that correct? High Sign Brewing. I think are they here in Austin? It says Austin. I don't know where the brewery is. I was checking the logs. Put another one in just above 200. It's probably going to come back up. It was flaming just a bit. Ooh, man. Damn, I don't remember this, but this is tasty. It reminds me slightly of the Kolsch, but instead of like lemon, it feels like dried lemon peel. Like it hits like a different part of my palate. Very light. I love Mexican beers, Mexican style beers, lagers. They're just very easy and drinkable. Austin summer, this is like my favorite time of day because the sun is getting ready to go down. It's set on that side of the house, so I'm not just like getting burned up or getting sunburn. It's just super, super nice. Cooler temperatures. Oh yeah, if I see this, I'm gonna buy into the 6-pack. This is really, really nice. I feel like this is almost like the Calidad or the Pacifico that I drink regularly with a little more flavor. I think this is like if you like Mexican beers, Mexican style lagers, I think this is a great example. And I'll open the smoke box. It will drop the temperature if it gets too high, I've noticed. It's been vacillating between 200 and 300. When I open the smoke box, it tends to cool down even if the logs are flamed, but I'd easily get a 100-degree difference. When I close the smoke box, they would shoot up to 300, and I had to spray the logs to kind of cool it down. Right now, I'm trying to raise it back up again, but this is an ongoing battle, and I'm still learning how to use this particular smoker with the char griller with this side smoke box. It's building up some. Is it going up? So yeah, this is a tasty, like I said, almost like a little bit of orange peel, dried though. It's not as bright as the Kolsch. Yeah, we're getting just to about 250. I'm gonna go ahead and let that sit, and I hope you guys try out High Sign Brewing Company. This is Alberto, the Mexican lager. We got the temps back where we want. I feel a little bit better about my temperature management and learning how to work logs through here. I'm gonna have to work on getting a hatchet or a saw to like saw the logs down to a size which makes them a little bit more workable for this size of smoker box. I absolutely understand why people are picky about that at this point, just because of the way they burn and also the quality of the wood itself. But this is only the second or third time I've opened it this whole time. And did I leave my thermometer inside? I did. The reason I wanted to go ahead and do this now is, one, we weren't that far off. I looked up some stuff online and they said that you want about 170-ish, right in there. 160 to 170 is when you want to wrap the brisket. So I want to go ahead and open this up and just test it. We're going to take temperature, kind of figure out where we think it's at. And let's see, open this up. The light apparently, yeah, the light is on. That makes it easier to read. Oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. Let me get the spatula. It's got a little bit of moisture right there. I'm going to tip it just to get that off. There we go. Now we're going to run the thermometer through this and see what our temperatures look like. Getting 152, not light. 153. It's climbing a little bit, but about 153. Deep in there. 154. 155. It's almost 156. We're not quite there. I'm going to close this back and let me see if that comes back to temp. In other words, I want to see if the temperature massively dropped, of course, because I checked it, which is why you don't want to keep doing it again and again while you're smoking it. But I'm trying to see if the temperature is going to pick back up. That log looked like it caught well. And let me see how fast that comes back up. It's climbing, coming closer to, it's probably about 180. Let's go back to 200. Just let it go for a minute and see. I just want to make sure that when we let it sit, it's generally about 250-ish. That's what I'm finding is a good temperature I can maintain mostly. The problem I've had is it keeps fluctuating between 200 and 300. It keeps like bouncing about 100 degrees. And it's also because of the size of the smoker box. I'm going to be able to learn how to work with this a little bit better over time and where to place the logs to be able to get them to catch to get what I need. It's just above 200 right now. I'm going to give it just a minute. And I also wanted to do this just before it got too dark. We could turn on the outside light, but you're not going to be able to see quite as well later. So we're not quite there yet. We're about, because they said 170 is when you want to wrap it to get it through the stall. Then you're trying to still raise the temperature up to about 200 degrees. So we got a ways to go. But I had to open up the box. We were heating up it was like 325, almost 350. I'm still working with these logs. This is the primary issue. It's not the smoke box, it's the size of the logs, and it's catching along the bark and just like lighting the whole thing. So let me take out the thermometer here. We're going to go ahead and find out where we are at. And the light is already on. And that looks like a good bark to me. Excuse me. That looked like a good bark. Probe. 153. I think we've hit the stall, folks. $157. We're not there yet. We're going to keep that going. close it up, let it keep cooking. The temperature dropped significantly, but that's because I had the top off and the smoke box closed. I want to see real quick when it comes back up. It's going to come back up rapidly. I want to see what the temperature is. It's moving. You can see it. If we get to around 250, that's where I want to keep it if I can. That's what I have a feeling is probably going to work the best. The problem is vacillating between 300 and 200. The flat measured out at 159. The point measured out at 166. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this. Executive decision. I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and put some tallow on the butcher paper. And this is warm, not hot. And I'm going to use my hands, I believe. I'm going to wash them real quick. Just slather that around and let it soak in, soften that paper. I was outside, so just wanted to wash my hands. Before I stick it right in that tallow and make it dirty again. There we go. It's warm but not hot. Tyr is hungry, and I can't imagine why a dog would be wandering around wanting to smell, dare I say eat, that entire brisket. It's going to soften it up a little bit. Now I'm going to try to transfer this as best I can over, and I found, let me wash this hand again. Put the spatula underneath the point, and the flat I can grab underneath the tongs here. But let's see if we can get this over. And then how are we going to do this? I guess like that. Do we have any of this left? We do. Got more of that should I want it, but I think we can get away without. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap. And then this is the top. One more time. And then I think I can get that underneath. Not quite enough on the end. I'm going to grab another piece of butcher paper just to make sure that's covered. And just as a little extra, I'm going to melt down just a little bit more of this beef tallow and go ahead and add that. I think when it sits in the fridge for, or not the fridge, when it sits in the oven for a prolonged amount of time, I think that extra tallow is going to help. And it's about time for me to render more anyway. We've got so much trim from these briskets that can really be nice to have on hand. If you've never rendered your own, I recommend you start. Let me go ahead and put that in the microwave. Now, this again came up to temperature. I'm going to go ahead and pull this over. And then I think, much like a burrito, I'm just going to see if I can pour that tallow inside. It's stacked up like this. I think that's going to work. It should hold position. Ooh, that's hot. Be careful. I should have done this before, but again, we're learning as we go, and I don't think it's going to ruin the final product. Let me see if I can get this with a towel. So I want a little bit more of that. I think it's going to give me a little bit of a buffer. There we go. Whoo! That's hot. I can feel it. Nope, underneath. I'm actually going to wet the outside of this paper. I think I left my spray bottle outside. Now, pretty good and wrapped. Trying to get it on tight. I'm gonna bring this back out and it's gonna go back on the smoker as I drip some tallow. There we go. We'll get that when we get back. You guys aren't gonna see this part because, well, it's dark outside.
A short lifetime later.
Temperatures. I'm a little concerned about this because I never nearly got to 200 degrees, 205, anywhere near there. I think this probably got to like 181 in the point at one point. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was done. I was tired. I couldn't film more. Let's go ahead and take this and put it on the cutting board. We're going to start the slicing process. Now, the other part is, and I thought this was exceedingly important whenever I was making the last brisket. One, we always remember that on the show, I'm just trying to make it better. I show my flaws, don't care. It's not about perfection, it's about showing ongoing growth. I'm obsessed with barbecue. I will continue doing this until I damn near perfect it. I have no doubt. When this came off, I wrapped it in foil. So this foil in here where I'm going to put the brisket, this is actually what was covering the pan. I covered it and put it in the oven at 170, not 150, 170. It went for another 6 hours. I'm hoping that the temperature difference from that 180 to putting it in the oven at 170 for those other 6 hours made it more tender and did what I needed to do to break down the connective tissue into collagen gelatin. We'll see what happens. It's all an experiment. I suspect this is going to be better than last time, even though the last time it was prime. This is just a choice. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this paper off of here. We got plenty of drippings. Let me see if I need to get a bowl. There we go. I was thinking about this. I'm probably going to save the paper because I'll use the paper to light the next grill. It's got like fat in it, right? This paper should burn. Let me see if I can figure out how I had this thing wrapped. Might have to just get dirty. Holy moly. Now it looks good. It's still warm, but it's not hot. It's probably right at like 140-ish right there. Holy moly. Let me see if I can get my hands around that. Oh, guys. Oh, I think we did some good stuff. Let me see here if I can just lift this up and set that down. There we go. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. Ooh, that edge was hot. Put this over here, wash my hands off. Yeah, that edge had some heat to it. Oh boy. Now, it is at least, it has to have like shrunk in size by at least half. That overall piece of meat is half the size of what I had before. I'm gonna go ahead and start picking up crumbs. I'm going to go ahead and start at the flat and go ahead and start slicing. We're going to see how this went. Oh. Okay, there's a little bit of texture here. A little bit of texture, but I don't think it's as tough as last time. There's a little bit. Oh man, that yellow. Oh, that looked like that did great. So I trimmed this less. I left that 1/4 inch on top. It makes a huge difference. So guys, we gotta pull a piece of this. It's not quite where we want. How's this? Oh. 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 Guys, if you think I had a problem before, I'm obsessed. This is, oh my God. Oh. I would like it to be a little more moist, but I think this is a much better brisket than the last one we did. And I'm slicing this thin so it pulls easy. I think everybody's gonna love this. Kind of coats the outside. And guess what? We made better tortillas. I used 4 cups of the nixtamalized masa to 4 cups of water. Fried it just a little bit of avocado oil because that was what I had available. We are gonna make a taco. I'm gonna give myself just a little bit of doña here just for some flavor. I made a mess. We were almost out. I'm gonna save the rest for CC because I know she wants some of this. I just wanted a little squirt. I'm gonna clean that up. And there's just a little bit of guacamole here. That's my choice. You know, you know, do what you need to do. But I think just a little dab of that is going to be nice. Now, now if I have a little starch, just pardon me. This is why people live in Central Texas. I'm critical of Texans sometimes. I love you guys. Thank you for taking me in. This is not one of the reasons I'm critical.
Hey kid, what's your name?
I can't remember.
Where you from?
I can't remember.
Can't you remember anything?
I remember the alligator.
Now, there's good smoke. The bark, as you can tell, is mostly staying intact. It's not like falling off. But it's a little bit more, just a little, it's a little bit more like a pot roast. And I think it's because wrapped in the foil in the way it deals with some of its juices. I'm gonna go ahead and let's see here. See, there's a little texture through there. A little bit of texture. See, I gotta work to get through that. It almost like shreds through here. Whoo-wee. There's a little more heat it retained in there. And put that over to the side. Whew, the fatty, man, it almost just like falls apart. I know that's not ideally what you want, Oh my God. But I don't think anybody in the household is going to complain. Let me see if I can turn this to you just a little bit. You see how it's shredding? I'm not exactly sure if it got like overcooked at this point, because it does have some texture, but you saw it like pull apart, and you can certainly see the fat there. But I'm not getting like good cuts. You see how it's almost like falling apart? Again, it's not going to go bad, but I need to work on that. It's not supposed to shred quite as much. One of the things I'm going to do for Cece, she wants quesadillas. I'm going to make quesadillas with the tortillas I made. And the shred will actually work really, really well for her. But you see how it's like shredding like that? I got a little bit of a better slice there, but it was because I sliced it so thick. A little bit more texture. That's a little more dry on the end, so I can keep the slice whole. And let me slice off a piece of this and see what I think of it. Oh. Guys, it's not perfect, but that does not suck. Oh my God. Let me go ahead and serve this up. I'll take some photos and include it so you can see the quesadillas. You can see I just eat it with some pickles or with the tortilla. Dress it up the way you want. There's a million different ways to do this. In future episodes, let's see, what do we get to cover? Brisket ramen. A brisket noodle bowl, which is more like, think Vietnamese, but like Central Texas style with brisket. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and serve this up.